So once again, a warm welcome to all of you, to each of you. It is such a treat to see all of us gathered here today for this event. If you haven't already muted your mics, please go ahead and do that now. And my name is Dhammadīpā, and happy to be your host for today's event. This is an event for Buddhist Global Relief. And our theme for today is "The Loving Heart Seeks to Sustain All." And we'll have quite a bit more sharing about the meaning of that theme. But for now, what I'd like to say is just that this event is intended to be a nourishment for all of our hearts, that we have this opportunity to come and learn about so much goodness, so much generosity and compassion that is happening in the world, to see that manifest and hear those uplifting stories. And so we'll be hearing from a number of different organizations. We have North Country. So these organizations are partners of Buddhist Global Relief. We're an organization that works completely through partnerships with other nonprofits. And some of the folks we'll hear from today is North Country Mission of Hope, Uganda Buddhist Center, Shraddha Charities, Lotus Outreach, ChemFed, Feeding America, and Capital Area Food Bank. So we're going to have quite a bit of good news to share today. Beautiful, beautiful stories and images. And so in the meantime, I just have a few housekeeping items to talk about. So first on the housekeeping list is to say that if you have any kind of technical problems or questions about today's event, you can chat directly to Patricia Brick. So you can see Patricia, there she is, she's waving her hand, and you can just go ahead and send a chat directly to her. Please don't chat to the whole group. But Patricia is well capable of taking care of your questions or concerns. And then the plan for today, just to give you a sense of how this event is going to unfold, is ideally, all things going as planned, we will be here for about 2 hours until 3 o'clock Eastern or noon Pacific time. And we're going to begin with a Dhamma talk from Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, who's going to tell us a bit more about our theme for today. Then we'll have a brief, about a 5-minute loving kindness meditation. And then we'll begin with our partner presentations and Dharma talks from guests, invited guests. So, but before that, before the Dharma talks from and the presentations from the guests, we'll have Patricia offer us some information about Buddhist Global Relief in terms of our mission and our financials. And that's very important because part of the purpose of today's event is also as a benefit for BGR, that we hope that you feel inspired to support and continue this work going forward. And we'll have David Broughton and others also speak about that in a bit. So yes, that pretty much sums it up. We will also hear more from 2 of our invited guest monastics. So Ayya Anandabodhi is here, and she'll be offering a Dharma reflection. 3 invited monastics, actually. And then we have Bhante Buddharakkhita, who's going to speak about his organization, actually, as well as the Dhamma. And we have Roshi Joan Hoeberichts, who's giving a Dhamma reflection a little bit later in the program. So, and we'll close with blessings from Bhante Bhikkhu Bodhi. So with that, I think that's all that we need to begin with. Again, I hope you find this program really uplifting. And Venerable Bodhi, if you would go ahead and share more with us about the theme for this year. And just to say, before we have Venerable speak, even though I think Bhante is incredibly well-known and respected Theravada monastic, he's been a monk and a teacher and translator for a very, very long time. I think he's globally known, but just to say that he is the founder of BGR and also the chair of the board. So please, Bhante, if you would share with us about the theme.
Okay, so thank you for those opening words, Ayya Dhammadīpā. And first of all, I want to second Ayya Dhammadīpā's welcome to everybody who's joined us for the program today. I especially want to thank our partners, some of our partners who will be speaking about our shared projects today. I welcome our guest Dharma speakers. Ayya Dhammadīpā mentioned them. And also I want to welcome all of you who have joined the program, our many donors whose generous donations through the years have made the work of BGR possible now for 16 years. And I also welcome those of you who are not yet familiar with the work of BGR, but who out of curiosity might have joined this program. And for the latter, I would invite you to check out our website to learn more about BGR, because I think we're a truly unique Buddhist organization that's been actually walking the talk, really putting compassion into effective life-saving action. I also want to give special credit to the many people who have been working hard to prepare today's program. I can't mention all of them, but I want to especially mention our executive director, Kim Behan, who is really the live wire of BGR. And I've sometimes said that if there's anybody who deserves, if there were a Nobel Prize for compassionate action, I think that prize would go to Kim. And Kim has worked with the entire BGR team for the past couple of months to ensure that this program will be a success. So I want to credit, without naming individuals, to credit all the other members of that team. Okay, the theme for the program today, and this is something I came up with myself, is the loving heart seeks to sustain all. And I want to explore this theme a little bit, and beginning with the word sustain. Now, the verb sustain suggests the noun sustenance. And I hadn't thought of this in advance, but one meaning of the word sustenance is food, nutrition. And so the mission of Buddhist Global Relief, our stated mission, is to combat hunger and malnutrition by ensuring that people who are afflicted with hunger receive sustenance. That is, that they get enough healthy food. But there's another kind of sustenance besides material food, and that is nourishment for the mind. And the mind is nourished through education. And so one of the ways that BGR seeks to fight malnutrition is by supporting the education of poor children, especially girls. And quite a few of our projects combine both kinds of nutrition. That is, these projects provide school meals to poor children, breakfast and lunch, so that we feed their bodies and minds together. And when we do so, this also encourages their parents to insist that the children attend school. Now, the work of feeding others, from our point of view as Buddhists, springs from love. And love arises in the heart when we look at others as being worthy, as being essentially like ourselves. But while love arises from within the heart, it shouldn't remain there. Love has to be transformed into action. It has to be manifested in action. And so the work of Buddhist Global Relief is a kind of expression of love in action, the manifestation of compassion in action. Our theme title speaks of sustaining all, that we seek to sustain all. But that is our aspiration, to see that no one on this planet goes hungry, that no one misses in education, that every human being can thrive in accordance with their ability. It's not likely that we're ever going to be able to fulfill that aspiration, but we can take a few little steps in that direction. And today, we'll be taking a look at some of the steps we've been taking over the past year to fulfill that aspiration. If you want to get an idea of our work and you're not yet familiar with it, please take a look at our website. To get some idea of our current projects, look under the heading at the website, Current Projects. But to see what we've been doing over the past 10 years, on the website, go to About Us, scroll down and look for annual reports. There you will find the annual reports for the past 10 years, beautifully designed by a graphics designer. And you'll see all the work that we've done over these last 10 years. And you should always remember that these accomplishments have always been made possible by your generous support. Okay, so those are some of the words that I want to set down to open this convocation. And now to set the tone for the day, I invite Ayya Dhammadīpā to lead us in a short meditation on loving kindness.
Thank you so much, Bhante. Thank you. Yes, very inspiring words. And the concept of love and loving kindness, so fundamental to the Dhamma, to the practice of Buddhism and many other traditions, actually. And so I'd like to share just a brief meditation. We're going to meditate only for about 5 minutes here, but I invite you to begin by just settling into your seat, getting a sense of your body. Sometimes it's helpful to move the body or the head a little bit to release any tendency to lean toward the screen. Or if you're lying down, just finding that supported position. And now bringing to mind a moment of loving kindness. Just something very simple, some kindness or some moment of loving care. It might be a cat in your lap or a baby laughing. Just some simple moment that brings that quality of love and kindness in a very mundane way. And really staying with that image. If visual is hard for you, then maybe just a phrase. Loving kindness. Oh, may that being be well. So really staying with that image until that quality can be felt in the mind. And you'll know it because it's pleasant. That quality of loving kindness has a pleasant tone. And having found that mundane quality of kindness, you might imagine that with your intention, that it begins to fill your whole body. That quality of kindness and love filling your whole body. Like a light. Perhaps using the breath as a support. Each in-breath allowing the light to get brighter. And each out-breath, the light flowing through your body and even beyond. Few more breaths of loving kindness growing and flowing through you and beyond. So that brings us to the end of the meditation for this moment. And hopefully that brightens and opens your hearts and minds for all the good news that is about to come, all these beautiful sharings. So we'll begin with Patricia Brick next. And Patricia has been a BGR volunteer since 2017. She's been with us for a while, quite a while, and she became a member of staff back in 2019. And we very much appreciate all of Patricia's contributions to BGR in many, many ways. So she's going to share with us about the mission and the financials. So Patricia, if you would, please go ahead.
Thank you, Ayya. And thank you for that beautiful meditation. It's a perfect way to begin. I attended a retreat last weekend, and I'm just feeling so strongly how essential Sangha is to our practice. Just really an honor to be here with all of you today. Share this. Thank you all for being here with us. Okay. So, hunger is one of the world's great humanitarian challenges. The world produces enough food to feed everyone on Earth, and yet globally an estimated 733 million people are impacted by hunger, That's 1 in 11 people worldwide and 1 in 5 people in Africa, according to the World Health Organization. These are staggering figures, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the immensity of suffering caused by hunger, poverty, and inequity around the world. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi founded BGR in 2008 as a vehicle for Buddhists and friends of Buddhism to join together in a community of generosity and support for those members of our global family who do not have enough to eat. BGR's mission is to combat chronic hunger and poverty. We fulfill our mission by sponsoring projects that provide food assistance to people afflicted by hunger and malnutrition, support children's education, especially for girls, give women opportunities to start right livelihood projects to support their families, and support training in sustainable agriculture for smallholder farmers. We work in partnership with relief organizations already operating on the ground in the countries we serve. Our partners are both large NGOs and small grassroots locally based organizations. And I'd love to introduce you just briefly to a couple of our amazing projects and some of the members of the global community who are being served through your generosity. This first project, the Lamajay Food Program with our partner, the What If Foundation, has been a BGR project since 2014. These beautiful young people are having a meal at the Narive Community Cafeteria in the T Plaza Caso neighborhood of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, where the Lamajay food team provides more than 1,000 nutritious meals a day to children and families in need. And I'm sure you've all heard about the ongoing crisis in Haiti, which has been under a state of emergency since the spring. The impacts on Haitian citizens have been truly terrible. According to the UN's World Food Program, nearly half of Haitians are experiencing acute hunger, and 1.4 million people are currently facing emergency levels of hunger. The Lamajay team has continued to provide daily meals despite the violence on the streets, and in spite of rising food and fuel prices, they've been able to respond to the growing demand as more and more children and families have faced food insecurity and malnutrition. And I just want to briefly share some words from Rosie Lukasama, who's the head of Lamajay's food program team. She said, "The community cafeteria plays a critical part in keeping the peace in T Plaza Caso by helping people to survive and not be forced to fall into crime to make ends meet. When there is desperation, this can happen." Rosie continued, "But even with the current famine, people are coming here in peace, grateful for the continuation of this program and the hot meals that can keep them and their families going. There's a shared understanding that even in the darkest times, perhaps especially during the darkest times, we must come together and help each other." I thought that was really beautiful. This is a BGR project since 2018. The Asral Hot Meals Project with our partner Maitreya Charity serves kids in need in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and at a second smaller location in the town of Ondershil in the Gobi Desert. The Asral NGO was established in 2001 by the Tibetan Buddhist monk Venerable Panchen Otrul Rinpoche. And Asral is Mongolian for care. And the primary goal of all of the organization's programs is to keep families together and prevent children from ending up living on the streets. These children are standing in front of their family's gir, or yurt, on the outskirts of Ulaanbaatar. And families in the Gir district here live without running water or sewers or central heating. Most families use stoves that burn coal or wood to stay warm in a city where average temperatures in winter are well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Many of the kids served by this project live in single-parent families or with a parent who's disabled or facing other challenges that make it difficult to meet their family's basic needs. Single parents here often have no choice but to leave their kids home by themselves in order to work to earn enough income to buy food for their kids. So working out of Asral's Community Center, the Hot Meals program not only provides children with a daily nutritious hot meal, and for some of these kids, it's their only meal of the day, but also provides help with schoolwork, lessons in hygiene practices and other life skills that the kids may be missing, and assistance from a social worker when that's needed. The project also provides material support like school supplies and clothing, food, coal for the family's gears, and cold weather gear like warm coats and boots. And for many of these kids, the community center becomes a safe, warm space where they can come for a hot meal or mentorship or just a little bit of support. As Ayya mentioned, later in the program, we're honored to have some of our partners sharing their projects with us in more detail. Bhante, Deacon James, Adrian, Sally, Nia, thank you all for joining us today. In 2024, thanks to the generosity of our community of donors, BGR supported 59 projects that are serving nearly 160,000 people in need around the world. And when we include the number of total beneficiaries, the families of the girls who receive rice support and the children of the women who receive vocational training, your generosity is providing needed support to more than 500,000 people this year. So it's pretty incredible. These figures don't include the beneficiaries of BGR's emergency relief grants, which over the past few years have become a more significant part of our work. In fiscal year 2024, we were once again able to support the work of responding to extreme hunger caused by the devastating drought in the Horn of Africa. We also provided aid in response to the ongoing crises in Afghanistan, Gaza, and Ukraine. And we're grateful to have the resources to continue to respond to these crises in the new fiscal year. Again, all thanks to the generosity of BGR supporters. Just to touch briefly on BGR's financial health, you can see in this graph that our support has grown over the years from an initial figure of just under 70,000 in 2009 to regularly surpassing $1 million per year. In 2024, 60% of our revenue came from individual donations and 32% from trusts and similar gifts. Since our founding, the number of annual projects we've been able to support has also grown from 3 in our first year to 59 in 2024. And we remain a largely volunteer organization, and the great bulk of our budget goes to direct programming at 64% and emergency relief at 27%. BGR projects serve folks of all different spiritual identities, and we don't proselytize to our partners nor to the folks they serve. But as a Buddhist organization deeply grounded in the Dharma, I do want to express our gratitude to all the Sanghas, meditation centers, and Buddhist groups that have hosted fundraisers and shared the work of BGR and encouraged others to join us in our work of conscientious compassion. And I just want to end with a wholehearted thank you to everyone who's participating in this work, whether you've made a donation to BGR or encouraged others to do so, or you're volunteering at your local food bank, or you're learning about engaged Buddhism and conscientious compassion, or you're standing up against structural inequity and social injustice, or you're helping someone in need in your local community. This is the heart of Sangha. We come together to support one another and living in the Dharma. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you so much. So wonderful to see those images of smiling faces and folks with their vegetables and their families. It's wonderful. All right, so having gotten the general background about Buddhist Global Relief and the work that we do, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into specific programs and the work that they're doing directly with the direct and indirect beneficiaries that Patricia mentioned in her introduction there. So I want to introduce Deacon James Carlin. There we go. And Deacon James is with North Country Mission of Hope. So I'll just say a few words about his background and then give him the floor so that he can tell us more. So Deacon James lives in Plattsburgh, New York with his wife, Beth. He has worked with the Mission of Hope since 2008 and made 19 mission trips to serve those in need in rural Nicaragua. He is president of the Mission's Board of Directors, or served as president from 2012 to 2016, and again from 2020 to 2023. And in January of 23, Deacon James became the second executive director of North Country Mission of Hope, succeeding the founder, Sister Debbie Blow, upon her retirement. So prior to taking up his full-time position there, Deacon James owned and operated his own business in upstate New York for 26 years. And North Country Mission of Hope has been a project of BGR, has been a collaborator with BGR since 2016. And in 2023, we actually expanded our relationship to a second project. So I'll leave it at that because I think Deacon James has some really beautiful information to share with us. So if you would, please go right ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate BGR inviting us to share our mission story here today with you all, and can't thank them enough for the support that they provided and the opportunity they provide for those that we serve in Nicaragua. It's been a great collaboration and very beneficial to those we serve. So I think if I do this right, we can share. Can you see that all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So as was mentioned, we've been partners in education since 2016 with BGR, and we are presently running two programs, one for children, female children from kindergarten to high school, and the second one for young ladies who have gone through the program since 2016 and are now in university and technical school. Before we do that, before we get too deep into those programs, just a little bit of information about the mission itself. The mission was founded in 1998 by three very strong, very dedicated women here in our local area, Plattsburgh, New York. Yamilet Flores, who was native to Nicaragua, Sister Debbie Blow, and Eve McGill, as a response to Hurricane Mitch, which devastated much of Central America in 1998. The original intent was that we would do a one-time humanitarian response to that particular devastation, but having been there the one time, it became clear that much more was needed than just that original response. And to date, we've taken 72 mission trips there. The group has mostly consisting of around 50 to 60 people. And after 25 years, we continue to work with our partners in Nicaragua to address poverty and, most importantly, provide hope to those we serve. The Mission of Hope is a non-denominational mission group founded on the principle that every faith and spiritual walk stems from a base of love, the recognition of the dignity of every person, and service to others. And while our main focus is in Nicaragua, we provide services and programs here in the North Country of New York, upstate New York, and respond to emergent needs around the world. A little bit about Nicaragua, the most important pieces being the last three that are on here, that Nicaragua has one of the youngest and least educated populations in the Western Hemisphere. And that according to UNICEF, approximately 50% of Nicaraguan children live in poverty, 19% in extreme poverty. 40% of Nicaraguans live in what's considered to be a rural area. And those statistics that were stated above are exacerbated by rural poverty, which brings with it lack of services, lack of opportunity, and lack of jobs. Nicaragua is a very beautiful country. It's a volcanic country that has some very beautiful topography, but with that volcanic nature comes with it earthquakes and difficult hurricanes that have caused a great deal of damage over the years, and aided in their economic distress. There's also the overwhelming poverty. These are pictures that were taken on some of the mission trips that we've been on, and unfortunately are not an occurrence that's a one of a kind type of picture. This is in some of the rural areas we go to. These are the living conditions that people live in. But they're also proud, generous people, loving families, and they have beautiful, hope-filled smiles like we saw from the young children in Haiti. A smile is the universal language of love, and it's what drives it's what drives us is the people, the love of those people, and the opportunity for us to share with them drives us. So what the Mission of Hope does, we have what's called our 4 pillars: education, healthcare, community development, ecological sustainability, all of which we have programs. But today we want to talk about education more than any other, because as we all know, education is truly the only path that provides a sustainable way forward out of the generational poverty that we see in Nicaragua. So every program that we have revolves around this education program. We run a clinic 7 days a week because you can't go to school if you're sick. We have community development project that provides shelter homes for families, because if you don't have a place to live, you can't go to school. And ecological sustainability, we provide stoves and water filters that allow them to use their economic resources or ecological resources in a more sustainable way, and provide them with fresh drinking water in their homes where generally they don't have their own running water. Poverty in and of itself is a major deterrent to education. As I say here, poverty robs many young people of their hope for a brighter future. And it's difficult to see the benefits of an education when your main concerns is having a safe place to live and food to eat. So our education program that we had in place, our main education program that we have in place, sponsors over 500, close to 600 children to provide them with their basic education. And in some cases, we provide them with a little bit more. That education provides them with a meal every day. But it alleviates the burden of their family, from their family having to provide some of the things that are necessary in Nicaragua to go to school, such as a uniform, supplies, and other necessities for an education. If the family had to provide those themselves, then chances are the children wouldn't be able to stay in school. So early in the process, this is always a collaborative effort between ourselves and the people we serve in Nicaragua. We got together with community leaders and school leaders to find out what were the barriers for children staying in school. Above and beyond the poverty that they live in, there's cultural issues. School is not looked at, again, as an end for most children, because they can't see beyond their poverty, so they don't see the benefits of what an education can bring them. So they gave us a list of things that we could provide, and we do that: school books and shoes and different things like that. But in this process, it also became very clear to us that young female students, or female students from pre-K all the way through college, face a separate set of barriers that young male students don't always have to face. There is cultural barriers that as to what the expectations of women are in that particular culture at times. Lack of family support. They're also tasked many times with taking care of younger siblings so that the parents can go out and work. And there's a lack of for feminine hygiene products and undergarments that are necessary for these young ladies to be able to attend school. So here's where Buddhist Global Relief came in at a very opportune and wonderful time for us, as these needs were emerging. We were introduced to BGR in 2016, and in a collaborative effort with them, we provide 122 young ladies with these necessities, the necessities that allow them to get over the barriers and the hurdles that stop them from getting their education. And since 2016, we've seen a great increase, especially in this program, where all their needs are met, to keep them in school longer, to help change that culture, not only for themselves, but for their family and their siblings, that they can put a focus on education and that they can begin to see the benefits of an education. So it's been very, very successful in that regard. But with that success came the recognition and realization that as the children went through, as the young ladies went through this program, their needs changed, especially as they went into university or into trade schools. So we now have about 25 young ladies that have gone through the program and are now getting their education in either trade schools or in university, and their needs change quite a bit. They need help getting to their schools. They need help sustaining them when they're in school. So Buddhist Global came again to the rescue of these young ladies, and we've developed a program, and it's in actually their first year of full implementation. We'll be finishing up in about a month or two. But it provides them this additional help, this additional financial assistance that allows them to continue their education, to continue to provide that example of the benefits of an education to their families and to their communities. Our executive director, Magali Vasquez, our assistant executive director, who herself is a beneficiary of our early education programs and runs this program for us, is adamant about the benefits that these young ladies have received and continue to receive, and is very excited about the future of these young ladies as they set the example for the area in which we provide our services. So again, we provide the young people with uniforms, backpacks, supplies, anything that they need to be able to get to school, as well as a little bit of money to sustain them. And all that helps to affirm their dignity and gives them an equal opportunity, but greater than that, gives them the opportunities that hope brings. And that's immeasurable in what we do. Self-esteem, the empowerment, socialization that this program provides these young ladies has rippling effects, again, through their families and through their communities. Again, it provides hope and opportunity where at times they're both in very, very short supply. In Nicaragua at the moment, the government is is enacted a program where they're examining every non-governmental agency in Nicaragua to see if their goals align with the goals of the government, which they have to date in the last 36 months decertified over 5,500 non-governmental agencies that provided similar services to what we provide and what Buddhist Global Relief helps us to provide, creating a much more need than we're ever able to meet. But having this program, having this sustainable program in Nicaragua provides a beacon for these young ladies that, again, has ripple effects throughout our area, but also throughout the country. And for that, we cannot thank Buddhist Global Relief enough for their partnership, for their continued support, and for everything that they're bringing to those that we serve in Nicaragua. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deacon James. That's wonderful to see the thoughtfulness, actually, of what are the barriers, things that we often don't think of as being barriers to education for those young women. So it's very, very helpful and uplifting to see your presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And so our next speaker will be Bhante Buddharakkhita of Uganda Buddhist Center. And I just want to introduce the Venerable before we give him an opportunity to share his wisdom with us and Dhamma with us. So Venerable Bhante Buddharakkhita was born in Uganda, Africa. He was ordained as a Buddhist monk by the late Most Venerable U Silananda in 2002 at the Tathagata Meditation Center in San Jose, California. He is the founder and abbot of the Uganda Buddhist Center in Uganda and a BGR partner since 2019. Apart from teaching meditation in Africa and worldwide, he teaches Buddhism and interreligious engagement at the Union Theological Seminary in New York City. Bhante is a longtime member of BGR's Advisory Council, and his book, Planting Dhamma Seeds, The Emergence of Buddhism in Africa, tells the story of his religious and spiritual work there. So very, very warm and respectful welcome, Bhante, and please share your Dhamma with us.
I wonder if he has a light. It's rather dark.
Let light be there and light was there.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Ayya Dhammadīpā, for your warm introduction. And pay my respect to Bhante Buddhi and Ayya Anandabodhi and all the participants from BGR family. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Thank you very much for offering this opportunity to share a few words from the Buddha teaching. When I had this title, The Loving Heart Seeks to Sustain All, I reflected on it and I said, where does it fit in Buddha's injunction? What did the Buddha had to say about that topic? Luckily, I found it. And that's what I want to share with you in terms of what I would call the three R's. Actually, the three P's, actually P as in Peter. So now, there's at one time where the Buddha gave it advice to 60 arhants, full enlightened beings, to go and teach. I will quote exactly from the scriptures where the Buddha say, released are my monks from all ties, bonds, you can call it mental defilements, whether human or divine. You also are delivered from all fetters, whether human or divine. So that speaks to what I call purity of the heart and mind. So really, Buddha was talking about purify your heart and mind through the practice of generosity, loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom. When we purify our hearts and minds, we are getting rid of the mental impurities like greed, attachment to our material things, to our time, to our material, of course, space and even energy. Then hatred, anger, delusion, confusion. So we need to purify those mental states. As we all were practicing here, we may not be fully free from all these mental defilements, but we have chipped a little bit, enough to purify our hearts so that we can embark on the work the Buddha really told us to do. So he continued, of course, that's what I call, from the Buddhist perspective, that kind of heart is called apamanya, boundless. That means the number of people that you should send this loving kindness and compassion are limitless. There's no limit. So there's no distinction. In other words, when you have such a heart, it just radiates to all beings without exception. So he continued on to another P, which I call purpose. Bhante Buddhi, I think, alluded to it as aspiration, but I call here purpose. To have the second P. Go now, the Buddha continued advising the fully enlightened beings. Go now and wonder for the welfare. The first thing is for the welfare and happiness of the many. Out of compassion, anukampa, out of compassion for the world. The third is for the gain, welfare, and happiness of gods and men. So really, that's the heart that really sustains all, because it's out of compassion. So you go and really for the purpose, for the aspiration to relieve suffering from all beings. Even here, gods are included. So this is really something that myself at Uganda Buddhist Center for the last 19 years I've been doing. And through the support of many people, and to be more specific, BGR, when we became in partnership, to really see how we can relieve suffering in Africa. When we looked at those ratios, Africa is, was it 1 out of 5? So Africa seemed to really suffer a lot. It's very interesting according to the statistics there. So of course, around the world, all people are suffering, but the statistics seem to really focus really on Africa. But of course, I understand that part. So now, myself, that's what I had to do when I came back to Uganda, to see how much I can do to purify my mind, but at the same time, relieve suffering of all beings, not only in Africa, but also other parts of the world. But because I come from Uganda, so I'm doing this work in Uganda with partnership with BGR, where we have orphanages, we have a school, and for us, we have even like a preschool, a primary school. But this year challenged me a little bit, actually, in terms of Buddha's advice. We have primary 7, and we had these boys passing, and one girl passed very well, but we didn't have a high school. But I want to help, So I took one monk, novice monk, to Sri Lanka, which is amazing that he started giving Dhamma talk after 3 weeks in Sri Lanka. So I took him to a Privana in a learning center. It's called Asigiriya. I was so surprised that all the years this boy trained here in our education here, he was giving Dhamma talks, nourishing the people in Sri Lanka, giving them Dhamma food. So there are 2 boys, and I had a challenge that I could not take them to Sri Lanka, and we don't have a Buddhist high school, so they had to disrobe. And every day they walk like 3 kilometers to go to the nearest school in order to attend a high school. And it's not a Buddhist school, but it's just a normal high school. So next year, which is 2025, I decided to establish African Buddhist College, so where we are going to admit 120 children, and that will be more feeding them and giving them education to align myself with the Buddha's injunction about out of compassion. And of course, that's the plan, that next year in February, we admit 120 children, including the monks, the children who disrobed, and now they have to put on robe again so that they can go to high school, so they don't have to walk long distances to go to school, and they will be fed very well. So this is part of my compassion, that I've seen that I don't want to see these children disrobed and also walking long distances to go to school. Last P, Buddha continues, proclaim. Proclaim the Dhamma that is excellent in beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end. That means sila, samadhi, and wisdom, ethical conduct, concentration, and wisdom. So possessed of meaning and the letter, and utterly perfect. Proclaim the life of purity for the whole life, consummate and pure. Propagation. This really means actually propagation of the Dhamma and Vinaya for the whole beings to really learn. That's about education par excellence. So, and then the quote continues, there are beings with little dust in their eyes who will be lost through not hearing the Dhamma. There are beings who will understand the Dhamma. Those are the 3 P's. One P is purity, another P is purpose, which is aspiration, another P is propagation of the pure Dhamma. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you very much, BGR, for being in partnership with us so that we can help so many beings in education and feeding them, especially girls and women empowerment. Thank you very much, and Modana. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Thank you so much, Venerable. Yes, I appreciate the reminder that we do what we do for the welfare of the many, yes, for the welfare of everyone. Thank you so much for being with us all the way from Uganda.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, and now I would like to hand it over to the Vice Chair of the Board, of Directors of Buddhist Global Relief. That's David Broughton. And David is going to talk to you a little bit about some of the reasons why we're here today, in addition to sharing all the partner news. David?
Thank you, Dhammadīpā, Namo Buddhaya. So I've had the privilege of traveling to Haiti twice. And the first time I went there, I was able to visit Cité Soleil. And for those of you who don't know about Haiti, the half of the population in Haiti lives on less than $1 a day, and 80% less than $2 a day. Cité Soleil happens to be a slum right outside of Port-au-Prince. It's the end of a runway bordering the Caribbean. There's 400,000 people there, only 2 schools, virtually no government services, no running water or electricity. And when I went there, I went with a group, and when we got out of the car, the first thing our guide said is, be sure not to open your mouth because there are black flies, and they will, if they get inside of your mouth, they'll bite, and you will have problems. And so, but even with that warning, I was not prepared for what I was about to see. Here were children playing among garbage heaps, among houses that were, nothing more than a shed made out of tin, probably 10 by 8 feet wide, most of them. There was raw sewage running down the streets, and piles of discarded mangoes. Yet these kids were playing soccer, and they were playing with a tin can. They didn't even have a soccer ball to play with. And when they saw us, they came running up and first with outstretched hands, and seeing that I had nothing to offer them by way of either candy or food or even coin, a remarkable thing happened. A little boy on my right and a little boy on my left each reached up and took my hand. And as I walked, continued my walk, they continued to hold my hand. And when I looked up at them or looked down upon them, they smiled back at me. BGR exists so that we don't have to respond with an empty hand when children reach out to us, in need. And you've heard a little bit about that. You're going to hear a whole lot more. But the only reason that we can respond to children, through feeding programs and whatnot. In fact, in Haiti, we have 4 programs. What If Foundation that feeds something like 5,500 meals a day, or a week, I should say. Hope for Haiti, the Joan Rose Foundation, which is struggling financially because they've expanded their feeding programs, and the Trees That Feed, that plant breadfruit so that there's some future opportunity and also to do environmental restoration. BGR makes all that possible because of your gifts and your donations. So if you haven't already given, we will put our BGR website in the chat, and I would hope that you would consider doing so, immediately following this retreat. So thank you so much. I'll be back to talk a little bit more later. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you. Yes, there's definitely the need, and we're fortunate to have the ability to respond to that need. So the next thing that we'd like to share with you is a video from our partner, Shraddha Charities. So let me just say a bit about Shraddha and introduce them. The Shraddha Charity Organization has been a partner since 2020, when we first funded a project assisting pregnant women at risk of malnourishment throughout Sri Lanka. Working primarily out of the Mahamenawa Buddhist Monastery in Kaduwela, Sri Lanka, Shraddha provides clean water, education, and aid for sick people, victims of emergencies and natural disasters, and other people in need. in Sri Lanka. So this video that you're about to watch, it introduces the first of 2 projects that we're going to talk to you about that we currently support with Shraddha. And this is called Pure Water for All, a project that is facing problems of water contamination from agrochemicals that cause kidney disease in tens of thousands over the last 2 decades. So Kim, if you'll go ahead and show the video.
For a long time, they endured the hardship of living without access to clean drinking water, often traveling miles just to find a single drop. But that struggle finally ended thanks to the Shraddha, Pure Water for All noble project. This milestone marks the 138th and 140th phases of the ongoing initiative. The project was carried out with the blessings of the Honorable Mahasangha. At Lagala Pallegama Mahavidyalaya, a new water purification unit was established to serve the entire village, along with another unit in the nearby village of Lower Usgol. Each water purification system, capable of delivering 15,000 litres of clean water daily, was established at a cost of around 5 million rupees. The Buddhist Global Relief Organization provided generous financial support for this effort, with the goal of bringing relief to even more people in the region. With immense gratitude, we reflect on how the Shraddha Pure Water for All noble project has successfully ended the suffering of those who once journeyed many miles in search of potable water.
This is a meritorious day. I would like to thank Buddhist Global Relief Organization because of your dedication behalf of my friends and villagers. Thank you again.
පවුල් 250ක් විතර ජීවත් වෙන මේ ගමේ නමුත් ජල පරිවහදුවක් ලැබුණේ නැහැ. අපි ඈතට ගිහිල්ලා තමයි වතුර ටිකක් දැන් අරන් එන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ ලැබිච්ච සත්කාරයකට මේ ආයතන වලට අපගේ කෘතඥතාව එක සිතින්ම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා ගම්වාසීන් වෙනුවෙන්.
This noble mission will continue, bringing hope and clean water to many more in the future.
Thank you, Kim. Yes. And that is such a crucial project because, as some of you might know, the water contamination in Sri Lanka has resulted in tens of thousands of premature deaths. It's really literally having this clean water is a life-saving, beneficial intervention for these folks. And so the next video that we're going to share with you is also from Shraddha Charities, and this is food scholarships for children, feeding approximately 300 children in Seruvila Mahavidyalaya village. And this video will tell you a little bit more about that project as well.
I'm the principal of Seruvila Mahavidyalaya, and I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Buddhist Global Relief Organization and Shraddha Charity Organization for providing lunch to the children to our school. Many of our students come from very poor families, and their economic situation is quite challenging. Currently, we have about 300 children and 20 dedicated teachers. The nutritious and high-quality meals provided by your organizations have been a tremendous support to our students. This generous contribution has made a significant difference in their lives, for which we are deeply thankful. May your efforts bring you great merit.
Yes, beautiful. So again, just much needed nutrition for those kids to really be able to make the most out of their education and really fulfill their potential in their lives. So thank you for sharing that, Kim. And now we will have a Dhamma sharing from Ayya Anandabodhi. So let me just introduce Ayya. Ayya Anandabodhi has recently joined us as a member of the Spiritual Council of BGR, originally from Wales. She's been a Buddhist monastic for 30 years. Ayya was co-founder of Aloka Vihara Forest Monastery in Northern California and is founder of Pārāyana Vihāra, a small Buddhist monastery in Washington State, where she now resides. Ayya is part of the worldwide revival of Theravada Bhikkhunis, which reopened the way for women to take full ordination in the Theravada tradition. She loves to share the Dhamma and wishing to support others in finding the freedom that the Buddha points us to. So, Ayya, please, a warm welcome. Please share your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Venerable Dhammadīpā. And my respect to Bhante Bodhi and Bhante Buddharakkhita and all of the staff of BGR who've been doing amazing work for so long, and all of the leaders of the various projects that are benefiting from the work of BGR and of many. So, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. So the Buddha emphasized the importance of generosity as an aspect of the path. And he said, if you knew what I knew, if we knew what the Buddha knew, if we understood the importance of generosity in the way that he did, we wouldn't let a single meal go by without sharing in some way with others. And this is, I always think this is a kind of profound statement, that it's coming from a Buddha, fully awakened one, and that he's seeing the immense importance of generosity. And when I reflect on this, what comes to mind is many things, actually. Partly is the joy that comes through giving, the relief and the freedom that comes through giving and sharing, and not just being about me and mine and my life, my story, my practice, my awakening, but it's about this arising, that what we are is part of everything. So there's the joy that comes through giving and benefiting others, and seeing the smiles on some of those children's faces and parents' faces is so beautiful. It's like incredible struggles in life, incredible poverty, and then just this, we're all the same. We're all human. We all want to be. We all want to be well. We all want happiness. We all seek happiness and well-being. We all want to see our loved ones flourish and grow and be well and happy and strong. And we want to see the potential that, imagine, if you have a child, you want that child to live to their full potential. And the struggle of the obstacles that can be in the way for people. So the Buddha, I feel like right from the beginning is pointing to our common humanity, the fact that we're part of each other, not just that we're the same, because actually we're all remarkably individual and unique, but that we all arise together, that we're all part of each other, the human race and the whole of the world. Actually, the whole cycle of life is supporting each other, and we're meant to live that way. We're not meant to be hoarding enormous amounts for ourselves, so that few people have vast amounts and other people are struggling to survive. That is not living in accordance with nature. So Buddhist Global Relief is addressing that profound imbalance that has evolved in the world, and to a large degree also in the United States. We have a large, very, very wealthy people, ridiculously, crazily wealthy people who have more money than they would know what to do with, and then others in the world who are struggling in the US and also around the world, who are struggling just to survive, or just for their families to have enough, or to get through education, or to keep out of danger, really. And Buddhist Global Relief was born from generosity and from great heart, and enormous amount of hard work and dedication and generosity among the staff, right from the start, selflessness, and And that generosity, you know, it's like it's flowering in so many places in the world, in so many people. And who knows what, you know, one child who manages to get through school and goes to university or is able to work a job in the community, that one person influences many other people in their community. Everyone ripples out. Every benefit to every person ripples out and benefits others. And I know that it's sort of a common thing to say, look at the website, you know, look at our website. But I want to say the Buddhist Global Relief website is quite special. So I often tell people, go and look at the Buddhist Global Relief website, because, you know, there are so many troubles in the world, and there's a lot of things to worry about, and there's a lot of reasons to sort of feel sort of a bit disheartened about humanity. And if you go to the Buddhist Global Relief website, there are so many reasons to feel uplifted by humanity, by our potential. It's deeply inspiring, and it's guided by love and wisdom and intelligence and compassion. It's like these very pure, beautiful qualities. High qualities are guiding this work of Buddhist Global Relief. And when you go into that website, start wandering around, it's like a transmission of goodness, of beauty, of the higher potential of a human being. So I really encourage you to take a look around that website and be touched by the work of BGR, be moved by it. It is deeply moving. Allow the people to enter your heart and be part of you. And, you know, just as the Buddha said to, you know, not to let a single day go by without sharing from your meal with another. You know, don't miss the opportunity. You know, it might not be so practical to actually kind of share your meal, you know, but to think about how you use resources and what can be shared. You know, what can be shared? What can you give that will make a huge difference to the lives of others? And not to be daunted by the enormity of the task. You know, it looks like you know, that's how are we ever going to combat global hunger? And don't worry about that. You just do what you can, give what you can, benefit those that you can. And it's also kind of beautiful that it doesn't have to be personal. You know, it's not like I'm giving to this person, even though that is very inspiring, but it's just the act of giving into this interdependent arising of life so that everyone can benefit. So I really deeply encourage you to take part in this beautiful arising of goodness and generosity in the world that Buddhist Global Relief is. And to be part of that, to enjoy it, to benefit from it, to give into it, to support it. And I just want to offer that today.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Venerable. Thank you for being with us and for all of the support over the many years. You know, I have fond memories of you and I on walks to feed the hungry years ago, yes? So, yes, thank you so much for those beautiful words of wisdom.
Thank you, Venerable.
All right, so our next sharing is another video. We're going to see a bit about Lotus Outreach International. So they have been a BGR partner since 2009, when we joined together to provide rice support for female students, girls, women, young women in need, and their families in rural Cambodia. So in 2013, we expanded the partnership, and you're seeing that that's a theme also that we have over the years really grown deeply with our partners and expanded the types of programs that we can support each other with. So we expanded to a program called Catalyst, which is providing tuition, books, clothing, and a small stipend for low-income young women seeking university education after high school. So this video is from the Cambodian country representative who is going to talk to us about a joyful occasion of graduation of these women. So Kim, if you would share, please.
Thank you, Ayya.
Thank you.
BGR support is and has been profoundly fundamental in keeping these girls in school, especially during the years of COVID pandemic and during which our mission to empower girls through education has become even more crucial.
Hello, I'm San Marani. I'm 22 years old. I am graduated from the Royal University of Phnom Penh with a major in physics.
Today, 31 scholars are graduating who have been under Buddhist Global Relief support for 4 years.
So only education can change our family situation.
When students are part of the project, they are connected to thousands of other scholars who have been supported by Lotus Outreach projects. Each of them becomes a beacon of light for others.
I didn't spend much time with my parents since they have to go to Thailand to work as a construction worker to earn money. They come to hometown only 1 or 2 times a year. That's why we didn't spend much time with them. During 4 years in Catholic projects, I have changed a lot. I kind of become more braver and confident to face or to try a new thing that I never tried before. My experience as a team leader in a residence, I have learned a lot and also faced many challenges. Sometimes when it caused some conflict between a member, I have to be a middle way to solve their problem. I think the most important thing that girls in Cambodia need, which is freedoms and opportunity, especially they need to access a quality education as men, because it is important to change their life. So I do think that the old mindset of old people in Cambodia that think that education should access only men, it is a wrong mindset. I think that this mindset can limit the potential or opportunity for girls. I really want to give thanks to all donors at Lotus Outreach, and I would like to thank the Buddhist Global Relief, my donor.
I extend my heartfelt thanks to Buddhist Global Relief, Teacher Esmai, Teacher Pitsai for your unwavering and guidance. Thank you so much.
I would like to say thanks to BGR for supporting my study and living expense so far.
I am deeply grateful to Buddhist Global Relief for supporting me throughout the 4 years. Without your help, the journey has been much harder. Your belief in me made all the difference.
I also want to ask you to continue to support underprivileged girls in Cambodia. I promise you that you will never regret it. We will do everything in our power to live in a beautiful way through making this world more beautiful every day. I know that you empower girls who need it most. They know very well how to give it back to this world, because we have feel our own heart what it is like to be without. Everyone deserves to create the future with us. Thank you so much, Buddhist Global Relief and Lotus Outreach.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You can really see the joy and the confidence in those young women. Such a tremendous accomplishment, 4 years of university. That's wonderful. And our next presentation is also a recorded presentation from Dharma Master Heng Sure, who ordained as a Buddhist monk in 1976. For the sake of world peace, he undertook an over 600-mile pilgrimage from South Pasadena to Ukiah, repeatedly taking 3 steps in 1 bow to cover the entire journey. In the entire 2 years of making that pilgrimage, the Dharma Master Heng Sure observed a practice of total silence. Reverend Heng Sure has an MA in Oriental Languages from UC Berkeley and a PhD from Graduate Theological Union, and he serves as the Managing Director of Berkeley Buddhist Monastery and teaches on the staff of the Institute for World Religions. His lectures on the Avatamsaka Sutta are at the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery every Saturday evening. And he's very much involved in interfaith dialogue and the ongoing conversation between spirituality and technology. So here he is going to perform a song that he'll introduce in the video. So Kim, back to you.
My name is Heng Sure. I'm coming to you from the Gold Coast of Queensland, Australia. And I would like to salute the Buddhist Global Relief, the vision of Bhikkhu Bodhi, all of the staff, and Kim, directors, and all the volunteers. And I speak as someone who has walked multiple times to feed the hungry in various places. And I'm very aware of the power of Buddhist Global Relief to change the understanding of Buddhists as being passive seekers of nirvana to people who embody compassion. And as my teacher in religion, the late Venerable Master Xuan Hua, said, we want to imitate the Bodhisattva's vision of awakening oneself through awakening others. And certainly you can only wake up if your stomach is full and you have shelter from the storm. So Buddhist Global Relief is made a mark in the world and creating incredible, wholesome Dharma affinities for the future. I'd like to offer a song called She Carries Me by Jennifer Barazon, a Canadian-American singer-songwriter who lives in Berkeley, California, Dharma friend and a neighbor of mine. And Jennifer's song, She Carries Me, pretty much worldwide has got the spirit of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, the awakened being of great compassion. Wherever I go, people say, this is the song that carries that spark. So your part, when it's time for you to sing along, goes like this. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. Do it twice. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. That's it. I'll tell you when to come in. She is a boat, she is a light high on a hill in the dark of night. She is a wave, she is the deep, she is the dark where the angels sleep, high on a hill where peace abides. She carries me to the other side. Here we go, your part. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, She carries me to the other side. And though I walk through valleys deep and shadows chase me in my sleep, on rocky cliffs I stand alone. I have no name, I have no home. With broken wings I long to fly. She carries me to the other side. Your part. She carries me. She carries me. She carries me to the other side. She carries me. She carries me. She carries me to the other side. 1,000 arms, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 ears to hear my cry. She is the gate, she is the door, she leads me through and back once more. When day has dawned, when death is nigh, she carries me to the other side. Last chance, here we go. She carries me. She carries me. She carries me to the other side. She carries me. She carries me. She carries me to the other side.
Such a beautiful offering by Reverend Heng Sure. So lovely, that song about the bodhisattva of compassion. Yes. And now we will hear a few words from another of our partners. So we're going to hear from Adrian Dishman with CAMFED. And Adrian, I'll just say a few words of introduction for her. Adrian Dishman is the manager of institutional partnerships at CAMFED, a Pan-African movement revolutionizing how girls' education is delivered. She has worked in the nonprofit space for over a decade, and she is inspired each day by the young women CAMFED supports, and who in turn are galvanizing their communities into action, making sure that girls secure their right to learn and to lead. And I'll just say BGR's partnership with CAMFED began in 2021 when we started supporting a project in Malawi. And Adrian, I'll hand it over to you for some more inspiring words.
Thank you so much. And I'm thrilled to be here today, and I'm honored to be representing CAMFED as well. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you can see it. See the presentation? Yes. Okay, perfect. Then we will dive right in. So So just high level overview. So CAMFED, what we do is we support girls and young women in rural Africa to learn, thrive, and lead change. So we are working in the most marginalized, poorest rural areas. And we are partnering with national governments, national ministries of education to work alongside them in government schools to work with these girls and young women. So we've been around now for 30 years, and over those 30 years, we've supported over 7 million children, so girls and boys at the younger age as well. And then this includes over 2 million girls at the secondary school level, which is some of our focus is on. And that is because in sub-Saharan Africa, over 95% of girls do not finish secondary school. So that is one of our focuses, and this shows the countries that we've worked in over the 30 years. So to give a very broad, high-level kind of approach to what our model looks like, we work on a 3-level approach. So first, we are providing girls with this individualized financial and material support. So a bursary package that's tailored exactly to what they need: shoes, book supplies, menstrual products, food, to get them to school, to have a full belly, to be able to focus. But we also provide a life skills and social well-being curriculum that is delivered by mentors that are pretty close in age to them. So there's this comprehensive wraparound support for success for these girls at secondary school level. We also, once they graduate from school, most of them join what we call the CAMFED Association, which is our alumni network. Now over 278,000 young women are in this network. And these young women, this is important to our mission, they are now leading our programs on the ground in the local communities. So they've graduated with support from CAMFED, and they stay in their communities, and they become our learner guides, our agriculture guides, our transition guides, lead our programs, and they have that trust. They have that respect of the children in the community. They know them, they listen to them, and they respect them. So the second level is we also support them to transition from school to livelihoods and leadership. So do they want to do tertiary, start a business, grow a business, do trade school? So we still connect them with support. And then our third level is entire generations. So after 30 years of working in these countries alongside governments, helping the governments figure out what specific pieces of our program may work for all government schools, reaching girls and boys, children, and young adults. So talk a bit about the impact of Buddhist Global Relief support. So just over the past 3 years, Buddhist Global Relief's partnership has reached over 10,000 of the most vulnerable children in CAMFED's partner districts. This is specific to Malawi. And so I love talking about this is through a unique funding mechanism at CAMFED. It's called the CAMA Fund. So it mobilizes these young women I've just spoke about in our alumni network. They're 18 to 23. So it mobilizes the CAMFED Association network to lead philanthropic activities in their own communities. So we have the Buddhist Global Relief incredible support to the CAMA Fund, but that's also being matched by the young women in the communities also raising funds for the children that they know in their communities. You've also helped with the CAMFED Association leadership and partnerships and meetings as well. So this is just what we've seen in the past 3 years. And this CAMA Fund, what it does, it's very reactive. So if a CAMFED Association member notices a child hasn't been to school in 2 days, they will take the initiative, go visit the family, find out why. If it's because they're hungry, they will help with food for the week. So it's very reactive, emergent to get them back into school so we can get them into our programs. I had the opportunity just a few weeks ago to visit our Zambia programs, and I visited an annual meeting of the CAMFED Association and got to see presentations on this CAMA Fund. So Buddhist Global Relief, know how much you are appreciated, and also know how much your funds are being matched by our young women on the ground as they try their best as well to raise funding for our programs. So I just wanted to share a few success stories. And Buddhist Global Relief has had quite an impact in both of these young women's lives. And this is just a few of the very large number you just saw me quote over 10,000. So first we have, Eleanor, she is 16. And so her story is she excelled in primary school, had very high marks, was accepted and selected to a prestigious secondary school, but could not proceed because it was too far away, it was too expensive. And this is not a single story. We see this all the time. They have the determination, the will, the smarts, the intelligence, and all they are lacking is resources. So she stayed closer to home, went to a lesser expensive school, but still had to drop out because of fees. When she dropped out, a neighbor noticed she wasn't going to school, and the neighbor had heard of CAMFED Association, had seen them in the community. So the neighbor made that connection. CAMFED Association then visited, brought the girl back into school, and because of this CAMA fund, where if there's an emergent need, these funds are immediately available. They were able to get her back into school with the supplies, the feeds, the food she needed for her and her family to stay fed, to get to school, and brought her back into the fold. And she's now in Form 2, which is a sophomore year in high school. So she's well on her way because of this CAMA fund, because of Buddhist Global Relief support. And then just one more success story, we have Chim Wimwei. She's one of our younger kind of grantees. So she is grade 3, she's 11. So when she stopped going to school, a learner guide, again, a CAMFED Association member in the community, noticed she was absent, went to visit her home of her own accord. And again, this is acceptable because these young women live in the community, know the community members, and know these children. So she went to visit, learned that Chim Wimwei's father was living with a disability, and the mother just could not afford to support the entire family on her own. So again, that specific learner guide paid fees, had it come out of the CAMA fund, got Chim Wimwei back into school, and brought her back into the CAMFED programming. So she is well on her way, and when she hits secondary school as well, will be supported by CAMFED. But this is all made possible, again, by this fund and kind of how reactive it is to any emergent needs that they see to bring these girls back into the fold. And I did just want to quickly highlight a very interesting outcome of CAMFED we call the multiplier effect. For every one girl that is supported to go through school with CAMFED, what we have seen is she will voluntarily, of her own volition, support 3 other younger girls and children who are coming up through school as well. So we call this a multiplier effect. And again, it's just kind of multiplying the benefits, Buddhist Global Relief, of your funding, of the funding that our CAMFED Association Sisterhood are also raising within the local communities. So with that, I wanted to leave you with Pamoja Tunaweza, one of our kind of rallying cries we have at CAMFED. And I wanted to say a very heartfelt thank you for the loving, the mindful, very intentional, and dedicated support of Buddhist Global Relief. Together, we can. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, Adrienne. Yes, we indeed can. We have been. Yes, it's wonderful to hear, the thread in your presentation that I hear is about care for each other, how they notice when the kids are out of school, how they approach each other and they say, hey, I can help, or I can introduce you to someone who can help. And that's so beautiful. Really wonderful. Thanks, Adrienne. And yes, so I will again turn it over to David Broughton, who's going to talk again a little bit about Buddhist Global Relief and how you can help keep this work happening.
So I'm going to keep it very brief because we're running a little bit behind time. But I got to our annual report and I saw on page 30 something that really struck me. Your donations feed children and send them to school, provide adults with skills to improve their livelihoods, and help farmers improve their methods so they can better feed their families. Even small donations can make a real difference in the lives of impoverished families. And we've heard about that. We've heard from North Country Mission of Hope, Shrouded Charities, Lotus Outreach, CAMFED. Soon we're going to hear from Feeding America and Capital Area Food Bank. But just to make the point, we feed children in Haiti, which I talked about earlier. for a nutritious meal for less than 50 cents a day. Just stop and think about that. One Starbucks Frappuccino a week, if you were to forego that and add that, and send that to BGR, that would be $250. That's 500 meals that we could support. So again, whatever, you do, look at page 30, look at all the ways you can give, and please support this important and vital work. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Yes, so our next presenter is Roshi Joan Hoeberichts. And Roshi Joan, let's see, are you spotlighted there? Okay, beautiful. And just to introduce her, Joan Hogetsu Hoeberichts Roshi is a teacher in the White Plum lineage and abbot of Heart Circle Zen in Hackensack, New Jersey. She's also a psychotherapist in private practice and has published chapters and articles on Zen practice and psychotherapy in various publications. In 2004, Roshi Joan initiated a project to bring psychological and spiritual relief to people in Sri Lanka after the tsunami in Southeast Asia. She's also been involved in prison ministry and served on the board of Sanar, an agency engaged in services to women who were formerly commercial sex workers. She's been teaching healthy boundaries for Buddhist leaders since the course was initiated online in 2017. And she recently relocated from Ridgewood, New Jersey to Tiburon, California. So thank you so much, Roshi Joan. Please share some Dharma with us.
So nice to see you again, Dhammadīpā and Bhante and Trisha and all my old friends from Buddhist Global Relief. I always very much enjoy this gathering every year. It's quite a celebration of who you are and what you become and all the good you do in the world. So it's wonderful to join you. I'm always uplifted and inspired by what BGR does each year. And I feel great gratitude at being even a very small part of this team. And this year, I really love the theme, the loving heart seeks to sustain all. It immediately made me joyful. A loving heart is full of joy. The bodhisattva vow to save all sentient beings, like the loving heart seeks to sustain all, is of course impossible. We cannot save all beings, nor can we sustain all. But the process of trying to do it is so rewarding, so deeply satisfying, that even when we fail, it brings joy to our life because the effort takes us out of ourself. As soon as we shift from self-concern to concern for others, we are much happier. And there's much current scientific research now to support this ancient understanding. Dr. Richard J. Davidson, who heads the Center for Healthy Minds at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, has verified and explained how meditation practice can lead to a mind and heart that seeks to sustain all. Much of Davidson's findings from studying meditators with thousands of hours of meditation practice are documented in the book Altered Traits that he co-authored with Daniel Goleman, the science writer for the New York Times. So how do we arouse this joyous state of being, a loving heart that seeks to sustain all? 5th century sage Vasubandhu observed, so long as you grasp at the self, you stay bound to the world of suffering. So think about that for a moment. When you are quiet, not distracted, do you notice that your mind focuses on what's bothering you, on your problems or the problems of those close to you, or even on your own joys and successes? The mind keeps returning to the self. I remember once when I was beginning to do long days of meditation that I noticed on a retreat that a particular incident at work where I had received some kind of meaningful praise kept reoccurring in my mind as I tried to meditate. In the beginning, meditation is often boring and we want entertainment. So I kept replaying this little story about what led up to the praise, who was there, the instant where I got this big hit of pleasure. And then I would start all over with it, replaying the story. Suddenly, I noticed what I was doing, and it struck me as very funny. A little round Buddha-like figure appeared in a corner of my mind, rolling with laughter, with tears running down his face. And then I began to move back and forth between the little film of that scene of praise and the laughing Buddha image. I didn't realize it at the time, but that part of me that was laughing at myself has become a kind of fixture that keeps me from getting too inflated when things are going well. And when things are not going well, that same part keeps me balanced, reminding me that this is life and it has its ups and downs, and that this too will pass. When the mind appears to be at rest, it is usually filled with thoughts of self. Science has discovered that these thoughts of self, this default network it's called, generally tends to be negative with regard to the self. The mind at rest generates thoughts of self-doubt, self-criticism, and fear or anxiety. The monks that participated in Richie Davidson's research dedicated their lives to compassion meditation. They lived in the Himalaya mountains as hermits and spent their lives meditating on others. One of the practices that they followed was the loving kindness meditation that Dhammadīpā led us in before. These meditative beings were full of joy. They showed no signs of anxiety despite having traveled for days to arrive in entirely unfamiliar surroundings where they didn't speak the language and where they were asked to act as lab subjects with wires stuck on their heads as they meditated for hours at a time in a lab. Most of us like to keep busy so that we crowd out the dark thoughts of our default network. But as soon as we are not busy or are not distracting ourselves with TV, music, reading, or talking to others, those dark thoughts tend to come back. However, when we think of others, when we're serving others, our thoughts of self disappear. Christian theologians use the term kenosis for the emptying of self, where our own wants, our needs, and our insecurities diminish while we open to the needs of others, growing into compassion. We can train our minds and hearts in compassion through meditation and actually doing good works for others. This is indeed the work of BGR. You search for projects where you can be of use to feed the hungry, to educate the poor, to lift up girls out of poverty by training them in needed skills. As we've heard today, you've been wonderfully successful. And so today we are celebrating your success. We can all participate in this project and in these good deeds and in this practice in compassion simply by donating. It's a wonderful effort to support. So please give generously and let your own heart open with love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishi Joan, for those beautiful words. That's so inspiring. So we have one more presentation, partner presentation, which is actually 2 in 1. We get some wonderful sharing from both Sally Doherty of Feeding America and Nia Davis from Capital Area Food Bank. So I'll just say a little bit to introduce both of them. And then I just want to also make a note about timing. So as you'll see, we're coming close to the end of our time, but we really want to hear the full sharing from Sally and Nia. And then after that, we'll have a bit of sharing and closing blessings from Venerable Bodhi. So if you can stay over, that would be lovely. We will make sure that it continues to be inspiring and uplifting. All right, so Sally Doherty is the development manager of Feeding America, the largest hunger relief organization in the United States, working as part of a network of more than 200 food banks, 21 statewide food bank associations, and over 60,000 partner agencies, food pantries, and meal programs in the U.S. BGR has been a supporter of Feeding America since 2020, when the COVID pandemic resulted in a tremendous increase in hunger and food insecurity in this country. As for Nia Davis, Nia is a development professional with extensive experience. Nia Davis currently serves as the Director for Foundation Partnerships at Capital Area Food Bank here in the Washington, D.C. area. She is truly committed to providing equitable access to food and opportunity to people struggling with hunger and food insecurity in this region. The Capital Area Food Bank joined us as a BGR partner in 2023 with 2 projects, the After School and Summer Meals Program and the CAFB Children's National Food Pharmacy Programs. So I won't say much more at this point, but hand it over to you, Sally and Nia, to hear more about what you're doing here. So thank you so much. So I believe Sally's going to share screen. All right. All right, great.
Pardon me just a moment while I let's see. Let's do this. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. There we go. Beautiful. We see that full screen.
All right. It's an honor to join you today and share about the impact of Buddhist global relief on hunger relief efforts through Feeding America, including our member food banks, like Capital Area Food Bank, who you'll hear from in just a moment from my colleague, Nia Davis. Just as an overview, since 2020, Buddhist Global Relief has been a valued partner in the fight to end hunger in America by helping provide access to approximately 2.25 million meals, roughly, as we come up on their latest impact in 2024. And just to provide a little bit of context about the impact that we have and how we do our work, I'll share just a moment about the network, which was already discussed in the opening, so I'll be very brief about that. But effectively, we do our work by sourcing large quantities of surplus food from multiple sources from network members, so grocery store retailers, food producers, mid and small size farms. And then when we received, food banks distribute food directly to our neighbors and through partner agencies, through food pantries, meal programs, and other direct service programs, which you'll hear about in just a moment from Nia. I am sorry that there we go. In addition to helping us source billions of pounds of food, Buddhist Global Relief and partners like them are helping us advocate for stronger federal programs by support for crucial food programs like SNAP, which is the acronym for what was formerly known as food stamps, and other programs like WIC, and what we call CSFP, which is a senior meals program. You are also helping to transform the charitable food system for tomorrow by strengthening member food banks through providing grants to member food banks to innovate their systems for tomorrow, provide transportation subsidies and food purchase subsidies and more. And what I would also like to mention very quickly is the impact that Buddhist Global Relief is having in terms of our disaster response efforts. Last year, the network overall helped to source and respond to, I want to say 20 natural disasters, equating to about 5.5 million pounds of food. And most recently, Buddhist Global Relief also gave a specific gift to help with responses to Hurricane Helene and Milton. And so I am proud to share and delighted to share. Hope that you will also take joy in knowing that to date, there have been well over 160,000 truckloads of food and supplies. And in fact, as of yesterday, when I was updating my statistics, it was 218 truckloads of food and supplies to 16 partner food banks who were affected across 6 states. So I want to extend my gratitude to BGR for acting swiftly in this way and really helping to make an impact on families who have been affected, and many of them for the very first time finding themselves needing to seek food assistance. So thank you so much for all that you do. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Nia.
Thank you, Sally. The Capital Area Food Bank is so honored to be a member of Feeding America and to also receive such generous support from Buddhist Global Relief. Our mission is really to help our neighbors thrive by creating more equitable access to food and opportunity through community partnerships. We focus on Greater Washington, and our mission is twofold. We focus on hunger today, as well as food for brighter futures for tomorrow. We were founded in 1980, and we focus on what we call the DMV region, which is DC, Maryland, and Northern Virginia. We have over 300 partners and over 300 direct distribution sites. And we have a number of innovative initiatives, including food as medicine, college hunger, advocacy, and local agriculture. I want to spend some time focusing on the 2 programs that you've provided support for us, and we're very grateful for that. The first one is our Diabetes Care Complex Food Pharmacy. One of our goals is to provide food wherever needed and to really reach those populations. And so this food pharmacy is a partnership with Children's National. We kind of call it a one-stop shop, meaning the patients there are able to go and get their medical needs met and at the same time access food. And so we serve about 150 patients and their families a month. They receive 40 pounds of food, produce, as well as shelf stable. And it's been very impactful for that population. And we're continuing to try to find ways to strengthen and deepen this partnership. And we're happy to share that this year we launched a 3-year study. We know it's having an impact, but we also want to have those health outcomes, behavioral outcomes, and cost outcomes to discuss and quantify that kind of impact that we're having. And so we look forward to sharing those results in the future. This is one of our patients. Because of the population we're working with, we don't get to study or have beneficiary stories for each one due to privacy concerns. But this is one of our patients that has allowed us to track her progress over time. Her name is Iman. And here you see her in the diabetes care clinic, talking to her counselor from the staff, going over the health plan. You can see her accessing the fresh produce there in the clinic, as well as the shelf stable. You see examples of the amount of food. You can say 40 pounds, but when you see it in the bag, that's kind of gives you kind of a look of how much food they get. And she has really benefited from the program. She lives in what she has called a food desert in the Washington, D.C. area. And she said she didn't have the money as she transitioned to college. She didn't have money to afford the fresh produce and the other things that were being recommended to her by her medical team. And through this program, she's able to access that. And she now feels like she can really manage her health and in a much better way. And she's equipped with the tools that she needs to do that with the support of this program. BGR also supports our after school and summer meals program. It's a long existing program that we have here in the Washington, D.C. area and serves thousands of children each year. And we serve them at recreation centers, at churches, at housing complexes, at boys and girls clubs. Excuse me, one moment. And excuse me, one moment. And we're just so happy that we're able to reach these students wherever they are. Here you'll see our mobile food truck that is able to go into the communities. In some cases, there is not a location for us to serve these children. And so we take our mobile food truck there. And you'll see the food, the smiles on their faces, and the communities are just so impacted. And so we are so grateful for your support and for this opportunity to share with you today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Nia and Sally. It's definitely something that is in people's awareness that even here in the United States, there are folks who experience hunger and who experience food insecurity in ways that are impacting their health. So it's really great to hear about those programs. All right, so a wonderful, again, thank you so much, and gratitude for all of our partners for the work that they are doing on the ground directly with the folks, and for being here today to share with us, and for the Venerables who taught and shared also their understanding of this theme of the heart that seeks to sustain all, the loving heart. So I will turn it over for closing remarks to Venerable Bodhi.
Okay, so once again, thank you to everybody for joining us for this program today. And since we're running a bit over time, I want to close just with two rather brief remarks. First of all, I'm coming to this aspect of our idea that the loving heart seeks to sustain all, and to re-emphasize that that is an aspiration, not something that we can realistically accomplish, not in a world where some 2 billion people face food insecurity. But to illustrate the way BGR works, I want to relate a little story, a little anecdote that maybe some of you have already heard in one form or another. This is a scene by the shore of an ocean in which the waves are sweeping starfish, little starfish, onto the shore. And the starfish are being swept onto the shore, and a man comes walking along the shore, and in the distance he sees a little boy, and as he gets closer, he sees that the little boy is picking up starfish, one after another, and throwing the starfish back into the ocean. And so the man comes to the little boy and says, "What are you doing? There are thousands of starfish on the shore of this sea, and you are just one little boy picking up starfish and throwing them into the ocean, you're never going to make a difference for all of these starfish along the coast. The little boy didn't directly answer the man, but he bent down, picked up a starfish, and threw it back into the ocean and said, well, for that starfish, it certainly made a difference. And so when somebody comes to us and says, how can you hope to eradicate world hunger? It's a futile task. You're never going to be able to accomplish that. You're not going to make a real significant difference. Well, I would say to them, go to those children in Sri Lanka that are getting their meals at school and ask them whether it's making a difference for them. Go to those girls in Malawi or in Kenya who are being assisted by CAMFED to go to school, to complete their education, to enter upon professional life. Ask whether we're having an impact on their lives and see what they have to say. Think of the people maybe in the Washington, D.C. area who are being benefited by the Capitol Hill Food Bank, who are getting their meals, their health needs met by the food bank. Ask them whether it's making a difference for them and see what they have to say, whether they feel that they are getting any benefit. Think of those girls in Cambodia who are so happily coming from the poorest stratum of Cambodian society, who are graduating from the university, and ask them whether our work is having a difference on their lives. See what they have to say. So the point that I'm making is, even though the number of people that we might be able to benefit is limited, but it's having a significant, transformative, positive, uplifting effect on their lives. And as we can see from that diagram that the representative from CAMFED showed us, when we benefit one person, help them emerge from poverty, help them get an education, help them find employment, the benefit doesn't remain confined to them, but they are able to spread the benefit to others, to their own family members, their community members, hopefully their society. So in this way, it has a kind of uplifting effect on many people through this wonderful interwoven network of interconnectedness. So that is my first point. Then there's a second point that I didn't really hear mentioned today, but extremely important. We speak about the loving heart seeks to sustain all, especially through our own special project of combating hunger and malnutrition. Now, there is an extremely close connection between the climate and the capacity of the earth to provide sufficient food. And we are entering into an era, we've already entered into an era in which climate change is having a disastrous impact on the fecundity, the fertility, the productivity of the earth. And this occurs both through natural disasters, floods, hurricanes, wildfires, droughts that over a period of maybe a couple of days, couple of weeks, will decimate crops, make food transport systems unworkable, but also through the slow, gradual transformations taking place in the Earth's climate system. So if we have a real heart of love and compassion for the hungry people of this world, we have to take effective action to address this problem of climate change. And for us in the United States, I don't know if any of you have heard this before, But in about 12 days from now, or maybe it's fewer, I think 10 days from now, we have an election coming up. As a Buddhist as a relief organization, we don't endorse candidates, but please look at the policy proposals of the candidates to see what their proposals are with regard to the climate, with regard to energy use, and see whose policies are going to have the more positive impact on the Earth's climate system. Because that is an act also of love and compassion to ensure that we have a government that is effectively, or at least to some extent, effectively addressing climate change. And in that way, we'll be helping to reduce the expansion of hunger and malnutrition in this country and around the world. So those would be my short concluding remarks. And now I just want to end with what we do when we end a Buddhist function is to do a rejoicing in merits. And so let us rejoice in the merits of everybody who's been involved in the program today, this afternoon, this morning, this evening, or this night for Bhante Buddharakkhita in Uganda. So we can rejoice. Firstly, let us rejoice in the entire Buddhist Global Relief team who have all been working, as I said, so diligently, so persistently over the last couple of months to put this program together, and working not only to put this program together, but who have been working through this year and through previous years to develop, implement, and promote our many projects, currently 59 projects in countries extending from Mongolia to the shores of the United States itself. So let us rejoice in all of their important work. The BGR staff also rejoice in the contributions of the Buddhist Global Relief Board and all of our volunteers. We depend on many volunteers. And let us rejoice also in the contributions of our partner organizations, both those who joined us for the program today and also for our many other project partners all around the world. Asia, Africa. We have a sister organization in Europe called Mitgefühl in Action, which means compassion in action, and our partners in Latin America, Haiti, and the United States. So we rejoice in their work because they are on the same track as us, working together to try to combat hunger and malnutrition, to promote education of children, and to take other measures to reduce global poverty. And let us all rejoice in each other, rejoicing in our own efforts, the contributions that we make to promote the work of Buddhist Global Relief in order to address hunger and malnutrition, to relieve suffering, to give people around the world the chance to live with dignity, with hope, and with a new chance at life. So just for a minute or so, just let joy and happiness swell up from the heart, rejoicing in your own contributions and in the contributions of everybody else who has made this program possible and who have made the work of Buddhist Global Relief possible. And in the Buddhist tradition, we usually end the function, a religious function or a charitable function, by sharing the merits that we've accumulated, the wholesome karma, sharing these merits with other beings that are invisible to our eyes, but who can observe us. And so we invite them to rejoice in our merits, and by rejoicing in our merits, to protect the Buddha's teaching in the world, to protect all people who are engaged in wholesome activities, and to protect the natural forces, including the climate forces of this world. So I'm going to end by reciting a few verses, inviting those beings to rejoice in our meritorious deeds. Akasa ta chabumata deva naga mahidika punyanta manumoditva chirangra kantu sasanang. Akasa ta chabumata deva naga mahidika punyanta manumoditva chirangra kantu desanang. Akasa ta chabumata Deva naga mahidika punyanta manumoditva chirangra kantu mang parang dukkha pata jani dukkha baya pata jani baya soka pata jani soka antu sabe pipanino. May those in suffering be free from suffering. May those in fear be free from fear. May those in sorrow be free from sorrow. May all living beings also be thus. And then we can all go sadhu, 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 which means excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu,
Okay.
sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, BGR.
Thank you, Bhikkhu Bodhi. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you,
Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you,
Good
Venerable.
night, everybody.